Hello, and welcome back to The Culture Shift with Jeroslyn Jovan, our podcast aimed at inspiring the leaders of tomorrow, brought to you by Black Enterprise. Here we like to review the success stories of today's tastemakers to encourage those who dare to dream big. Today, we're going inside the expansion of In the Black Network's new global platform, ITBN Africa. The new streaming service includes over 70 hours of films, original series, documentaries, and more that amplify content by African creators. Join me in welcoming the founder and CEO of In the Black Network, veteran TV producer and filmmaker, James DuBose. Thank you so much for being here today. How are you?
Great. Thank you for having me. Appreciate that.
Of course, of course. I just covered on Black Enterprise the expansion of In the Black Network, going global with IBTN Africa. How does it feel? And how long has this venture been in the making?
It feels amazing, first of all, to be able to bring to go global, if you will, right? And being, we just had our 4-month birthday on February the 2nd. So to be able to make the ITBN Africa announcement is really great. But most importantly, this has been really the vision for a long time and to continue to expand because as you well know, the traditional outlets, if you will, they have a little bit of our content, and they use us, if you will, to get what they need out of us, and then throw us away at times. And so to be able to expand into different markets out internationally is very important, and what the vision was for In the Black Network all along. So we're going to continue, but to be able to start with this is extremely exciting.
Of course. So tell us a little about what your vision is for IBTN Africa.
Well, it's twofold. The first of all, where most of us, at least where I'm from, I didn't really get a chance to travel until I went to college on a football scholarship. My first plane ride was going to a football game, right? So I thought the world consists of the environment that I lived in. And I hear that quite a bit. So through what we do, one of the main things is I wanted our kids to be able to travel, to be able to see the world. Even if they can't travel, they can go see other cultures, get a sense of what that world looks like out there. And it's a much bigger world than where they live, so to speak. That's the first thing. The second part of that, the vision is I want everyone, eventually, I'm trying to build In the Black to be Tubi, to be our Black Tubi, to be a place that you don't have to download 5 or 6 different Black apps to see Black content. We want you to come to one place. And that's internationally, that's locally, that's US, that's every market that you could think of, Caribbean and so forth. And to be able to come one place and stay. You don't have to go to these other places just to get a little bit of of who we are, a little bit of our culture. So the vision for this is to be able to have a one-stop shop and to be able to service whatever you want to wake up and watch content-wise. We want that to be there on In the Black Network.
Yes, most definitely. I see the significance overall, and then just what you're doing within the Black Network. And since its launch, it's been committed to amplifying Black content and creators. So tell us about the significance of this, and how long it took you to bring that vision to life.
Well, I mean, you know how difficult it is for us to get anything greenlit in Hollywood, to get anything on air. And that was one of the main things we wanted to make that process a lot easier. Because there's a great deal of talent in our culture. There's a great deal of talent in our community. But we only hear about the 4 or 5 people that we hear about every day because the traditional outlets are making money from them. But this came about where I wanted people that have so much talent, that have so much content that would never, I wouldn't say never, but would have a very difficult opportunity of letting the world see their gift. This is what this is about. So it doesn't matter whether you have a name or you don't have a name. If you have quality content that we feel like resonates with the culture, we want to make that easier to get it on the platform.
Yes, yes. And I recently covered, this was just on Friday, the Nielsen study that just came out. saying that Black audiences are watching TV more than anyone else. We're the most watched viewers, and we are desiring more content that represents us and resonates with us, as well as even advertising. And so when you look at those statistics, but then look at the reality of just a lot of our content just making it maybe one season, if that, on these major networks and streaming providers, seeing in the Black network, it makes what you're doing that much more important. But what would you say when it comes to amplifying these shows and getting more awareness around these shows? I went on there from covering the expansion, and I'm already hooked on Sincerely Love. I recognized one of the actors. So I was like, is that Rodney? And so I went and I started watching, and it's so good. It's so good. So I'm going to get to that because I want to know, where's episode 2?
Okay.
But something like that, I'm like, this is good. This is Insecure. This is, what we want to see. How can we amplify that? Because even with like a show like Issa Rae's other show that just got canceled off of HBO, rap shit, I love that show. Some of us were watching it, but not enough of us. So it's like, how can we get it so that we're more on board and more aware of the content that is out there?
Is really the key. And first of all, to your point of watching in other places, you can't expect someone who don't know our culture or respect our culture to help us long term enhance our culture, right? That's just not possible. And if you don't own it, you can't really tell them what to do with their business. So with that said, it comes down to this simple thing. A lot of us have a most difficult time because we don't have the capital to market. We don't have a capital to do $1 million spend or $2 million spend or $10 million spend in the marketing campaign that the traditional outlets have. So that's why I think it's so important to bundle. And I speak about this quite a bit. To amplify it is to find one place where you can come and watch anything that you need. The diversity of the content is so important. And then throw some marketing dollars behind it because, as you said, you explored the channel and then you found Sincerely Love and now you're like, I'm hooked. And most people, you got to get them there. And we feel once we get them there, they'll stay because we do have quality content that represents us. And we just, next week, I actually started for the first time our marketing campaign, what I call the awareness campaign. So you can have all the content in the world, but if no one knows you exist, it doesn't matter, right? Mm-hmm. So we're now on our what I call the awareness campaign. So when you do discover that we're here, you'll start to realize we have quality content that I'll put up against any other outlet you may go watch anything.
Most definitely, yeah. I'm also into like lifestyle content. So I love even the merge with ITBN Africa and seeing I can't think of the name, but it's a show based out of Africa where they're highlighting painters and artists. And it was like really, what's it called? Oh, I'm sorry.
You're right, it's painting.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And you even get to learn different languages because she's speaking in both. So it's really cool. And I wanted to ask you in regards to ITBN's tagline, giving you that feeling. How'd you come up with that?
You know, I try to do a lot of studying and reading because I'm trying to grow every day. I have a long way to go, right? But one of the things I came across was great companies don't sell product, they sell feelings. And I felt like for us as a culture, that was one of the things that was missing in everything that we was putting out. Everything had become a product. And when I say giving you that feeling, is that emotional feeling where you feel attached to what we're doing. You feel some kind of way, be it angry, love, happy, sad, whatever it is, but you feel an emotion because when you're attached to something emotionally, as we all know, you continue to go back to it. So giving you that feeling, I wanted to give our culture that sense of pride, that feeling of pride, that feeling of emotional connectivity in what we're doing and that feeling of pride. So we're trying to encompass that in everything we're saying within the Black and giving you that feeling.
Mm-hmm. So now, before we even go on, some people might not be aware about your resume as a veteran TV producer and filmmaker in the entertainment industry. Your credits include, serving as general manager at Fox Soul, executive producing Dish Nation, Ease Wags Atlanta. Some of these I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know. Under your DuBose Entertainment banner, you did those. Keisha Cole, The Way It Is, Tiny and Toya, that was my show. Hell Date. Oh my gosh, I'm a millennial, so these take me. Comic View. And then the list goes on. So how did your decades of experience in the entertainment industry shape what you're doing at IBTN?
No, to be
ITBN.
yeah, to be honest with you, I feel like my journey, God has really had me walking in my purpose in ITBN. And I'll say that very quickly and I appreciate you speaking of some of the successes that I've been blessed to have in the business and work with some great people. But the journey has been a roller coaster, right? And so the failures and the trials and tribulations that I've had to go through in life, I think has really made me feel like ITBN is exactly where I need to be at this moment, because the content represents everything we are, the totality of our culture, right? You go on social media and what you're seeing is a highlight reel. But the majority of us have to wake up and fight some type of battle every day. And I think my journey through the success and then through the failures and through all the things that I've gone through, it was to get to this moment. It was to get to this moment where I could represent all of us, and even the people that are struggling don't feel like that they're not worthy of being respected. So that's really what, at the end of the day, I hope my journey will resonate with people, that the roller coaster ride is just that of life. And anyone that's telling you they've just had a great success life their whole time is not being honest with you. And we see the people that the world may think less of, but we see you. And that's what we're trying to get across at ITBN.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I see it. I see the vision, and I'm excited to watch how it continues to flourish. For you and your upbringing, and even kind of coming to the decision of embarking on a career in media, was there anyone or any piece of content you can remember that served as inspiration for you?
No, not really. I tell people all the time, I've been blessed. I've only prayed to do two things, and that's sports and entertainment, because I love creating. I've always had since a very, very young age. And that's all I've been, blessed to do. I've been able to have to do odd jobs, obviously, to survive. But this was, I had my, degree in broadcast communications from Wake Forest University. This is what I knew. I went to that school outside of just football, but to also because I felt like they had the greatest program in that regard. And so, I used to be in a rap group. I was DJ. I used to, film all the music videos for people in college and so forth. So I've always been what I feel my gift, and I don't have a lot of them, but my gift is storytelling, and God has blessed me with that. And I think if you look at my body of work, all the things you mentioned, because it's authentic to what life is really is, I think that's why it resonates with people. Even celebrities who so blessed and trust me with their lives, so to speak, and with their families, so to speak. It was a way to say, if you're honest with people and show them the ups and the downs, they'll resonate with you no matter what you do. And I think to this day, people are still resonating with those type of projects. So there was no real show that inspired me. I just think knowing, and my prayers, honestly, really made me realize early that this is your gift, and so use it.
Most definitely. That was good advice too. So you say that ITBN isn't just about adding titles, it's more about amplifying content that celebrates the Black diaspora. So what goes into greenlighting a project that will stream on in the Black network?
Right. The first thing is something that we feel like has a POV that the culture needs to see. The underserved community, if you will, and the voices and the Black creators. But most importantly it's just a building block. And I want to represent everything that we wake up to want to see, be it music, it may be a scripted show, it may be love, it may be crime for the moment, whatever it is. So, and I just don't want to do it in the US market. I really want to do it internationally. So we look for things that are not elsewhere, if you will, for lack of a better word. You won't find a lot of African content, if you will, on a lot of other platforms outside of
Right.
channel and so forth. But so we look for things that we know will resonate. First and foremost, we want to work with great people. That's very important, and we want to make sure that we can add value to the content created. So it's not just give us. We want to make sure we deposit and not just withdraw from people as well. So we look for how it could be the win-win, a value proposition, and then something that will resonate. Sincerely Love, and I know we're going to get to that, but that was one of the projects that they came to us about. And when I watched it and when I met them, it was a no-brainer for us as a network.
Yes. So speaking of Sincerely Love, where's episode 2? Did it go up yet?
Didn't. So that was the pilot. And so we wanted to see how it resonated. And it did phenomenal, and it continues to do phenomenal. So we are about to go into production for eight episode series to keep it going.
Good. Yes, it's such a good story. It's relatable, and yes, I'm invested. I'm like, okay, I need to know where this is going. So okay, that is very good to know. And so like I mentioned earlier, we're seeing major networks kind of draw back support and pledges they made to amplify diverse creatives and content in 2020. I wanted to know, what are your thoughts on this, and how does it make platforms like In the Black Network that much more important?
No, it's ironic that you asked that question, being Black History Month, right? And my answer is simply this: those outlets get to celebrate Black History Month for 28 days. We get to celebrate Black History 365 days a year.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. I am addicted to television. I don't know if you could tell. And I'll take my opinions to Twitter. So I recently called out HGTV on Twitter because I love HGTV. I'm on there. I just like their content. Like I told you, I like lifestyle content. And I noticed that they have this section like Black Voices, it's Black History Month, but most of the shows were like one season, and I'm like, wow, it would be nice if you would continue to amplify Black designers beyond one season, so that this section that you want to highlight for Black History Month isn't just a bunch of canceled shows. So just let you know that, because I'll be watching. I told you that painting show stood out to me. So I love just seeing and we're all, we're not a monolith. There's so many Black creatives with interior design. Some of those shows were like people going into rental units and showing you how to revamp the rental unit to a standard that wouldn't impact your lease. That's like, hello,
Right.
a lot of us are rented. So just pushing some ideas your way.
To that point, I would be remiss not to say that, quite frankly, a lot of these places don't have people in decision-making positions that look like us, right? Yeah. And though I get a lot of the recognition, if you will, for In the Black Network, I just want to be clear that I have an incredible team, that really has made, like, you don't launch a network what we have, in my opinion, October the 2nd, and have grown as much as we have with content and so forth without a team. And they all look like us. They are mostly women, because and then myself, but that's just the truth of the matter is. So when you're pitching someone who comes from your culture, who understands your culture, it's easier for them to get what you're trying to sell, as opposed you got to convince why this is important.
Mm-hmm. So now we know that there's a lot that goes into creating a show or movie, particularly for those who don't have like all the financial backing. What advice do you have for those independent and aspiring filmmakers and producers?
I'm very careful when I say give advice because everyone has an opinion how to do something, right? Capital is all. But to me, relationships is really what's important. The genuine relationship. So instead of finding someone to say, hey, can you introduce me to this person or that person? I have a great project. Build the relationship. Because even if you don't have a great project or all the finance, when you have a genuine relationship with someone, they'll help you figure out how to get there. And I think we miss that. We miss the part that life in general is really about relationships at the end of the day. That's your currency. So my advice is build genuine relationship. That currency will now grow the other currency that you may need to actually get a project off the ground. But without relationship, it's hard to get in the door. So my advice is don't quit, obviously, stay the course, and learn how to build genuine relationships. And how you do that is you go in saying, how can I deposit into you before you try to make a withdrawal?
Yes, yes, yes. And what are some ways that creators can look to possibly get their content on In the Black Network?
So they could go to info@intheblacknetwork.tv. They could go on our intheblacknetwork.tv website. There's a submission form. We do reply. We have someone that oversees that kind of stuff because, again, part of our mission and part of the team's mission is to find content creators and make sure they get an opportunity. So it's not difficult. Somebody will respond to you, and then just make sure, as I said before, you have your house in order, and then it'll go a lot smoother.
And you mentioned a little earlier about your awareness campaign that's set to launch. I just wanted to ask, what do you have planned for further amplifying all of the content that you have on your platform?
Well, what we currently have, when I say the paid, let me start with that, is we'll be coming to you for paid ads and doing the things that, we normally have to do to bring awareness to us. But we're going to spend it with our people. We're going to spend it where we are and where our eyeballs are, first and foremost. We're not going to go to these other places and spend our money and not come home first. So we're going to start home, and that's the first thing. And I think once we do that, everything else will take care of itself. The growth-wise, I want to continue bringing fast channels. We have 3 now. We have our faith-based channel with Merge TV. We have our 24/7 sports channel with Unbeaten. And then we have Urban Flicks, which was a subscription base that we brought over. I want to add a music fast channel. I want to add a crime fast channel. I want to continue at a travel and lifestyle fast channel that you mentioned as well. So we're actively looking for that. And then that will be the plan. And I think, again, hopefully the awareness will make people know we're here, and they'll go discover. And once they discover, they'll start to stay because they realize we actually have some quality content.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing all that. And just for my last question, is there a mindset or motto that you brought into 2024 that you're staying true to as the year progresses?
Yes. Ownership.
Ooh, yeah.
Ownership.
And you know what? You didn't play about it. You ain't play. Okay, I'm here for it. Well, thank you so much, James.
And not from the vanity reason of ownership, but ownership because you get to make the decision that you know is right for what your mission and purpose is. That's when I say that. And when I say ownership, not necessarily a business, I got to own me first. And I hadn't done that in my years past. Owning who I am, owning my mental state of mind, owning my emotions, owning everything about me, and then let that expand to the world.
That's right. A solid foundation to make sure it's unbreakable. Thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation. Like I said, I'm already a fan of what you're doing in the Black Network, and I look forward to continuing to see its growth. And you giving us that feeling. So thank you.